All right, in this last problem, you're supposed to go through and find the value of x, assuming that all of these triangles were similar. So for this one, I'm going to do this. If you know the Pythagorean theorem, there's some little shortcuts and things, and if you use that, that's great. I'm going to pretend, since we haven't done our Pythagorean theorem unit yet, that we don't know that. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the scale factor from this triangle down to that one. So I'm going to say, okay, 5 times what is going to give me 4? Well, I could set up a ratio here. Let me use a different variable. We'll call this y, and let's call this z, for example. And I'm going to go through and figure out what those variables are that'll hopefully help me figure out what the x is going to be then. Okay, so I could say, if I'm comparing corresponding sides, 5 to 4, so I'm comparing the hypotenuse of the big triangle to the hypotenuse of the small triangle is equal to, and what should we figure out first, the y or the z? Let's find the z. That's going to be equal to 3 over z. So how do I go from here to here? I got to multiply by 3 over 5, the end number divided by the start number. This goes back to what we did in our first semester. So then to get the z value, I take 4 times 3/5, and that is going to give me 12/5, or 2 and 2/5. I'm going to go ahead and leave things as improper fractions because that's what the answer is supposed to be written as. But if you wrote it as a mixed fraction, that would be fine as well. So my z value is going to be 2 and 2/5. Once you find something, it's always good to just put it in there, so just for clarity. Okay. Now, do I actually have to figure out that y value? I don't think I do. I'm just going to erase that. Okay. I don't think that's going to help me out a whole lot. So now I'm going to think about, okay, let's go from that triangle that we were just working at, this one down here, and try to figure out what the x value is going to be in that one. So I'm going to use the base of both of these. So 3 and 1/5. Okay, I'm going to compare that to 3. So the triangle that's on the bottom, the medium-sized one, to the small one that's up in the upper right-hand corner. Well, that's going to be equal to, I just found that z value is 2 and 2/5. Oh, well, I'm going to have to turn that to an improper fraction in just a second, compared to x. So how do I go from here to here? Well, again, let me change this to improper fractions. So this is going to be 16 over 5 over 3 is equal to 12 over 5 over x. So if you look, 16 over 5, so let's write this, 16 over 5 times something, okay, let's just call it p, is equal to 12 over 5. Oh, what's that going to be? Well, let's just do a little bit of algebra to figure it out. I know you could plug this into your calculator and kind of figure it out that way, but let's be real mathematicians here, okay? I could multiply both sides by 5. Whoop, that gets rid of my fractions. That's good. So then I've got 16p is equal to 12. Divide both sides by 16. So p is equal to 12 over 16, which is 3/4. So that's what I have to multiply by. That's my scale factor. So then on the bottom, I've got to multiply that by 3/4. So my x value is going to be 3 times 3/4, which is going to give me 9 over 4 for my final answer.